Norah Cullen, how are you? Great to have you.
Thank you very much, Martin. How are you doing?
Very well, very well. Really excited to have you on this uh, business case season session. Well, look, for the benefit of the audience, as we do with most of the interviews, I'd love if you wouldn't mind just giving a quick introduction on yourself and your background, and then we'll get right into it.
Excellent, thank you. Yes, so my name is Norah Cullen. I have been working in B2B SaaS sales on the solutions side, so the tech side of the business, for 12 years now, and I've always supported small and medium businesses. So, really exciting space to see. And of course, business case season is very applicable to us in Q4.
I can imagine. Well, on that point, we know that Q4 is always a big rush for many different reasons. If you hit your numbers in Q3, you're rushing for your accelerators in Q4. If you maybe were a bit slow in Q3, then Q4 is game time. What does Q4 mean to you?
So you're absolutely right. I mean, so much is out of our control when it comes to, how we perform throughout the year. But the nice thing is that to me, Q4 means a real acceleration in collaboration, not just with our customers, but internally with my colleagues. So I think we sort of change our mindset and everybody is understanding that actually we need to get something over the line. This is a mutually beneficial goal that we have. And it leads to some really interesting, exciting, fast conversations in the SMB space. That's what it means to me.
I love that concept of changing the mindset. I mean, like, because please, if you wouldn't mind diving deeper into that mindset shift, what actually happens?
That's a good question. So the mindset shift that happens for us is essentially that from my side of the business, we do demos of our wonderful technical products, but most of the year we want to really customize it. But when it comes to Q4, oftentimes you'll have a deal that just comes out of the woodwork, out of nowhere, and you don't have time to
Hmm.
always go deep into customizing that. So your mindset shifts. You learn to set expectations. You have a demo in your back pocket that may not be customized, but you verbally customize it. You use maybe additional solutions such as business value tools like Simbi that can help you to have those conversations a little bit deeper, and get everybody on that same page where let's join the dots in a much quicker, faster way right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. And do you see that your buyers, they're aligned on that mindset shift for the same reason?
Oh, our buyers are definitely aligned on that mindset shift. So they are, they're familiar, B2B SaaS has been around for long enough now that I think buyers are a lot more savvy with
Hmm.
how to buy and when to buy from,
Yes.
SaaS providers. All you have to do is Google, when should I
Hmm.
purchase my technology? And it will always tell you, find out when Q4 is.
Yeah.
So that is when our buyers are much more willing to accept the ask for less customization.
Hmm.
They will give us more access to power, so we can have really valuable conversations and understand what their desired outcomes are. And that's been really powerful for us.
Is it also because they're also under the gun in terms of budget allocation and budget setting?
Within the FY, yes,
Hmm.
absolutely. So we often find that even if we don't manage to close something in Q4, but maybe no Q5, but there is a Q1 coming up in
Yeah.
which we've done the legwork in Q4 that will hopefully give us a fast start in the next FY for that customer as well, right? So absolutely, there's definitely a budget allocation concern when it comes to Q4.
Brilliant. In my previous company, pull forwards were always an important, um, at least component of trying to hit the numbers in Q5, sorry, Q4 rather, which is literally bringing whatever possible deals that may be forecast in Q1 forward. How commonly used is that tactic, and I guess what are the pros and cons of that?
It is a very commonly used tactic to use pull forwards. And I think value selling is the really important piece around this. Most B2B SaaS organizations will tell you that they use a number of tools that they can leverage to apply discounts. And the timing is a big part of that, right? Not just the timing when we do it, but it can also be perhaps length of the contract, and all of those different levers combine to drive a good business value conversation. You can present a number of options to your customer that become really clear and hard to argue with when it comes
Sure.
to where they will get value out of it. It doesn't mean we have to devalue what our solutions or our offerings are, but it does mean that we're considering what is the most holistically sensible decision on both sides.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I mean, you run a pretty sizable SE team, solutions engineering team. We've done
Yes.
a lot of these conversations with sales reps, and I think the urgency is pretty clear on their side because it's not just a business performance; it's an individual performance. Commissions are at stake. President's Club there's a lot of things at stake, so to speak. How does that same period reflect on the SEs? Are they kind of they partner with the sales reps on the same goals?
That is a really good question. We often think the solution engineer's role is not just about the solutions, but it is about we call it running our own business because we actually think of the sales individuals on the teams to which we are aligned as being, the sales organization of our own business. So
Yes.
it reflects on us how they perform. So we have that buy-in culturally, we have that wonderful buy-in. And I mentioned I've been doing this for 12 years in this same place. And back in the day, we actually were called sales engineers. We switched it up to solutions engineers, but let's be honest, regardless of the title, it's the same goal. Um, and we used to say that it was a big S and a small E.
Mm.
It's actually, we are quite sales oriented in our technical roles. The engineering, it takes a secondary priority to the value that we are driving to our customers, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And going back to the whole concept of Q4, what is the craziest thing that you've ever done or any of your team have done to get a deal in Q4 over the line?
What am I permitted to say? No, I will say, do you know what? This is part of why I really love SMB. I've worked actually in mid-market enterprise strategic accounts, but I came back to SMB because of these crazy Q4s that I've
Right.
experienced. So I work with the UK and Ireland market. I had a customer who was absolutely accelerating their business in SMB in the UK, and eventually we lost them and managed to get them back on track with us in Q4 of all periods of time when they were also opening up locations in
Mm.
other regions. So they said, "Look, we won't have time to meet you in Manchester, but can you meet us in our new office in Berlin?" And myself and the account executive said, "Sure, okay, let's go to Berlin." In the middle of a thunder and lightning storm,
Oh
we
dear.
we flew to Berlin. We had thunder and lightning clapping all around us during the demo. It felt like pathetic fallacy. It was an insane scenario. But what was even stranger for me is this was back when I was in my mid to late 20s. Everybody in that organization was much younger than me. So this was a digital agency where the CEO was like 26 or something. And I realized that I felt like their buying behavior was a red flag to me. They were all sitting there with their feet on the table on their phones.
Mm.
And I actually had a wonderful account executive who stepped outside with the CEO and said, "We've put a lot of effort into this. I'm feeling really disrespected here. And my solution engineer, Nora, is putting a lot of effort in, and everyone's on their phones." CEO laughed and said, "Can I show you what we were talking about?" They were a younger generation who were texting about how much value they saw in what we were delivering. So, amidst all of that, while all these young people were playing in a ball pit with their foosball tables and their zip lines in their
Mm.
office in Berlin, and we were demoing in a thunderstorm, I learned that Q4 can be crazy for a number of reasons. And that change in mindset doesn't just apply to
Yeah.
speed, but also maybe don't read into a situation too quickly.
But it's hard, right? Because if you're presenting and
Yeah.
everybody's on their phones, it creates a
Mm.
really difficult. You don't feel like you're being listened to, right? So it creates a lot of. I would feel very self-conscious in that scenario, right? Like, are you
Very
listening? Or, yeah,
strange.
yeah.
Yes, very strange. But it was lovely to turn it around and discover that actually it's just a different buying behavior and it was landing. So that was nice to hear.
Brilliant. And you got back safe and sound.
We got back safe and sound and we won the deal. It was
Amazing.
great.
it's crazy. Like you hear, we've done a number of these interviews. We hear so many crazy stories about getting those deals
Yeah,
over the line. People getting it done like on the ninth hour of December 31st or whenever Q4 is done.
very much
It's
so.
remarkable. There's something quite special about the sales experience because it has so many highs and lows. And the highs are hugely high, and the lows, of course, are so low. And every situation is different, right?
Very much so. I often feel I have a lot of compassion for my sales colleagues because I describe myself as being sales adjacent.
Yes.
I get to enjoy more of the highs while they take the brunt of the lows, unfortunately.
Yeah, different responsibilities, right? Different
Yes.
deals. Yeah, and so from a solutions engineering side, you said that that obviously they're partnering with the sales reps, but the craziness of Q4 is slightly less intense for them, right? Because they're working more as consultants with the buyers, right? And when the deal is at a certain point in contracting, then they move on to other opportunities.
Absolutely. Yes. I always say that, it's never off their plate entirely until the deal is closed, until the ink is dry. You do have some skin in the game. You have some responsibility towards it, but you're absolutely correct. We step on to support the next one that needs the bulk of our
Yeah.
work at that moment in time.
Look,
Yeah.
this it's we know how crazy the period. I did have one more question. It just occurred to me.
Yes.
And you mentioned earlier about the how buyers are also quite incentivized to buy in Q4. You didn't mention the D word, but I imagine discounting is one of the reasons why buyers know to buy in Q4. How do you balance the pressure of hitting the numbers while managing the expectation from the buyer that they can probably negotiate a stronger discount?
That is a really good question because, yes, you're right. It can be tempting to offer discount just to hit the number as you want to. And sometimes we do if we identify that it is beneficial for everybody involved, ideally. But kind of to your previous point that you were asking about, in terms of the value. So, do we, as solution engineers, do we step aside from some of that? There's two sides to our role. Yes, we as solution engineers will help our sales colleagues to get things over the line, but we also can be a bit annoying because we might slow down a deal because we want
Mhm.
to identify what the right thing is for the customer, what the right thing is for our company. And while it may not mean commission for you right now, it will hopefully mean a larger, better deal for everybody involved later down the line. So this is why we take a big,
Yeah.
I would almost say an emotional response to the value that we're driving because we're putting the work in owning what the solution looks like. We want to hold ourselves accountable to what that value looks like. And if that means delaying the deal to get the value we need out of it, we will support that and lose some friends in the beginning, but everybody is happy in the end.
Yeah, and I think, and it's great because as a business, that's a very important cultural nuance, right? So people don't,
Yes,
the pressure, of course, is there, but it's not so much pressure that you do a bad deal, right? Because nobody wants to do a bad deal.
exactly. Exactly.
Brilliant, Nora. Thank you so much for today's time. I thought it was a wonderful interview.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Martin. This is great.